Welcome everyone. I'm Chef Chris Rains from The Chef and I in Orlando, and today we're going to be creating a seasonal forest mushroom risotto with some beautiful fresh sea scallops. All right, so we're going to kind of go through the ingredients. I got these beautiful scallops. They are called U10 scallops. The number indicates the average amount per pound. We've got some pre-roasted forest mushrooms. The reason we pre-roast them is to save a little bit of time in the recipe. We've got nice fresh orange. We know a little bit about oranges here in Florida. Some beautiful Vidalia onions. We got our risotto. We got our Parmesan cheese, a whole unsalted butter, and that is unsalted butter. We've got a little fresh lemon peel and bay leaf, cracked pepper and kosher salt, as well as white wine, a little bit of olive oil, and heavy cream. And then we'll finish up with some beautiful capers. One of the first things you learn in the kitchen as a chef is how to cook risotto. And risotto is kind of a labor of love, which cooking should be. You know, one of the things I love about cooking is just putting my heart and soul into it. And when you make risotto, as you'll see today, you have to put a little bit of time and effort and love into it. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes to create a perfect, totally consistent and just luscious risotto to accents the scallops. And then when we come down to the scallops, honestly, we're talking 4 minutes. So we're gonna put all the love into the risotto, and then we're gonna respect these scallops and get a nice crust on them to kind of bring the whole dish together. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna dice up our onions. So let's talk about cutting an onion. You know, one of the most important things in the kitchen is a sharp knife. So you always wanna make sure your knives are sharp, and you want to hold your onion firm. So what I like to do is I hold my fingers down and I put a little pressure on it so it sits down to the board, and then I like to take the end off, and now I've got kind of a stable area to work from. Same thing on the other end, and then I like to just run my knife right across here and peel the skin off. There's a million different ways and tips and tricks. That's the way I like to do mine. It's just lightly peel right off. Just get that outside layer off, because we like to use the whole onion in the kitchen. I'm gonna save these for stock for later. It's a little easier to cut, so I'm gonna cut mine in half, and then I like to go down, and here's how I cut my onions. Everybody does it differently. I actually just kind of run my knife right through here so I can get a nice uniform cut. I go right down here, this away, and I use my finger as a guide. There we go. Now I'm going to go right back through. And again, I'm using my fingers and I'm pushing down and I'm using them as a guide. You get a nice, uniform, diced onion. Now all this little extra I'm going to hold aside for my stock. And what we need for this recipe is about a cup of diced onions, and that's what I've got here. Now it's time to make some risotto. So we're going to roll over here and get busy in the kitchen and create some fire. All right, here we go. We're over here at the fire where all the magic happens. To get a good, even, uniform heat, and then we're going to start with a little bit of olive oil, and it's coming in right in here. We're just going to lightly coat the bottom, just like that. It's nice and coated, and then we're going to come in with our onions that we cut. All right, we're going to get that going. We're going to cook those down. Basically what we're trying to do here is we're going to release the flavors and the juices from the onions. We're going to get a little bit of a caramelized effect onto it, and that's going to bring out those flavors. It's going to bring out the sweetness. It's going to build the depth that we want for this risotto. So I've got that going in. I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper just a little bit right in there. Get it good and going. It's a little bit of salt and pepper to kind of, as we're sweating those onions, right? We want to get that flavor out. We want to really kind of enhance this dish. So as you can see now, it's starting to turn color slightly on here. We got a good medium-high heat going. That is the temperature, medium to medium-high. That's going to get that process happening really quick and get those flavors out. All right, we're going to work that around. I'm going to go ahead and get me a little spatula. We can get those stirring right around. You can smell those aromas coming in. It's just coming together. Just one of the things that just excites me about food is just the different steps throughout the process. I mean, you get this caramelizing going. You can smell the sweetness. You can smell that that char. You know, you pick a little bit of that salt in the air. You can smell that pepper, and it's just coming together. And I'm just getting excited in the kitchen. All right, see, we're getting a little bit of color on there. Now we're going to go ahead and add in our mushrooms that we pre-roasted. So we're going to let this cook for about 3 to 4 minutes. And again, just kind of stirring it, getting those flavors. We got a little jumper here. We're going to put them back in. Get that in there. Once that's nice and brown like it is, now we're going to add our risotto in. Nice and dry, just like this. Okay, just like that. And basically, we're gonna get a little toastiness going on this risotto, right? We're gonna bring it in with the vegetables. We're gonna impart a little bit of that flavor. The toastiness from the warmth of the pan is just gonna kind of blister the outside of the rice, and it's gonna bring it together really nice. Look at that, going right in there. It's soaked up that extra olive oil and moisture. It's getting that good toastiness. After about 45 seconds here of getting that flavor, now we're going to add in our wine. Now, the wine calls for a cup in this recipe. We are making enough risotto for 4 people. I'm not big on measuring, so I'm going to eyeball that. That's about a cup, I think. And basically, what we're looking to do here is we're going to cut the temperature down, and we're going to let this wine reduce by the half. So we started with about a cup, and we're just going to let that get in there, kind of take all those flavors off the bottom of the pan, take those caramelized flavors we added to the risotto and the onions, and bring them all together, and you're going to end up with a nice, just kind of subtle, a little bit of wine left in there, reduction. And from here, it is now chicken stock time. Now, I talked earlier about 20 to 25 minutes on your risotto, really imparting that love and effort into it. So now we've taken our temperature down, and we're just going to work in this chicken stock. And basically, we're going to lightly just stir it in. You're going to work this risotto for pretty much the whole 20 to 25 minutes. Seems like a lot, but again, we're going for the perfect risotto. And to do that, you've really got to give it the attention. You've got to respect the ingredients. You've got to give it your love, and you're just going to stir this in. And as you watch it go, you'll see that there's just a little bit of liquid. And what we're going to do is we're going to get that down to where all the liquid is almost gone, and then we're going to add a little more chicken stock in. And we're going to do this probably 8 to 10 times through the 25 minutes. Okay, so here we are. We've been doing this for 25 minutes. The risotto is broken open. It is coming together with these raw mushrooms. So now we're going to turn this off and let this sit aside. It's a perfect consistency. We're going to come back after we cook our scallops and finish the risotto up for plating. We've got our pan that I talked about here earlier. It is good and hot. You can see the steam coming. We've got our scallops right here that I was talking about. Now I'm going to lightly season these with a little bit of pepper and very little salt. And the reason I do very little salt, our scallops are sea creatures. They're salty by nature. All right, here we got our pan good and hot. We're going to go in with our olive oil. And what we're looking to do is we're looking to coat the bottom of the pan again, just like the risotto. And we want it good and hot, okay? So we want it smoking a little bit. You want your pan hot, because what that's going to do is once the scallop hits the pan, it's going to seize up, and you're going to get that hard sear that you're looking for here. So it's hot. Go right into the pan. You want to put them in there. You want to give them their space. You don't want to crowd them. You want to spread them right around. There we go. So traditionally, U10 size scallops roughly take about 2 minutes each side. Now the good thing about these is you can eat these sashimi style as well. So if they're a little bit undercooked and that's the way you like your scallop, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd say most people like their scallops at least medium to medium well, and that's what we're going to do here today. So again, you got your temperature going. I like to keep it good and hot. And let me just kind of show you where it's going. And this is not what you want to do, but you can just take a look and see your scallop. And I always like to look at the crust that's being built up on the side. So we're going to get in here. I'm going to kind of show you where we're going there. Look at that nice crust on there. You know, we've been going about a minute, minute and a half. I'm going to give these about another 20 or 30 seconds. And we're going to give these a quick flip. And then pretty much the hard work is done. So I'm gonna flip these over. Look at that color. Whoop, flip flopping. Gonna flip those guys over, and we're gonna build that crust on the bottom side as well. We'll get all the goodness going right around in there. All right, so now we're gonna turn the temperature down. We've got a hard sear on the second side. We're gonna turn it down. We're gonna add in a little bit of capers. Just kind of sweat that pan. We're gonna add in a little bit of butter, because you know what? Butter is just awesome, and that's why we're gonna add butter. It kind of helps bring out the flavors. I've turned my heat off now as we're a minute in. I'm just gonna let those sit there and do their thing, and I'm gonna come back to the risotto. So the way we're gonna finish our risotto is we've got all the goodies in here. Now we're gonna add the end part. So we're gonna add in a little bit of heavy cream. I say a little bit. You can always add a little bit more. We're gonna add in a little bit of whole butter, and we're just gonna bring that together. And what this is gonna do, that is gonna add that creaminess you look for in your risotto, and we've added it at the end. And the reason we do that is to kind of bring that creaminess and that silkiness together. If you use cream the whole dish, it would become just really hard to work with. You wouldn't get that perfect risotto. Needs a touch more salt, a little more pepper. You know, the one things we like to do, as I talked earlier, is we're gonna add a little citrus in here. So we're gonna do a little bit of orange zest, bring that around. We're gonna finish up with a little Parmesan cheese. All right, and we're gonna bring that all together into a perfectly creamy risotto. Now, let's go back to our scallops. Over here, to finish these off, I'm gonna take a little bit of this butter I put in the pan, and we're gonna baste these guys right in here. Basically, we're just spreading the love, just like that. All right, and we're right in here. We do our beautiful risotto right there in the middle. Oh, look at that. So good. We're going to come in with our scallops right around here. I'm going all 6, don't mind me. Going all in. All right. Nice and pretty. Now we're going to go ahead and finish it off one more time. A little bit of the orange zest. It's kind of an aromatic, so when it hits the table and you smell it for the first time, you know what's happening. A little bit more Parmesan cheese. We're going to sprinkle a little more capers in here, and then we're going to take a little bit of this lasting, we'll call this a caper brown butter, a little bit on our scallops, all the goodies, and then bon appetit from the chef and I in Orlando at the Hall on the Yard, creating food memories.